In your headlines, parents of school-aged children are being asked by police to practice extreme caution against a jitney driving pedophile. Minister of Physical Planning and Development previously announced review of country's left-hand traffic policy. And the Louise Garland Thomas High School held their Grand Career Day. From the PTV Broadcasting Headquarters in Providenciales, your #1 source for news, I'm Erica Pinales, delivering the latest from across the country this Monday, May 16th, 2022, right to your door. Newswatch starts now. Parents of school-aged children are being asked by police to practice extreme caution as they execute a search for a jitney driving pedophile said to have assaulted a young girl. Newswatch has more. A leaked document has put TCI residents, specifically the parents of school-aged girls, on high alert as police launch an intense search for a pedophile who they believe has disguised himself as a jitney driver. The document that entered the public domain was addressed to the authorities in the education sector from the Royal Turks and Caicos Islands Safeguarding and Public Protection Unit, notifying them of a report of an unknown male pedophile who is said to be operating what may be an illegal jitney, frequenting schools and picking up children to commit unlawful sexual acts. To this, the notice ended by requesting the department's help with notifying parents and school faculty members to remain alert and cautious as it relates to the commute of their children and students. The report that brought about this alert was that the unknown man, an illegal jitney driver, picked up a schoolgirl and sexually assaulted her. Though physically and emotionally affected, the girl is now safe. Parents are being asked to try their best to avoid jitney commute for their children, where other trustworthy provisions can be made. It is no secret that a large percentage of the jitney operators are illegal, and although it is a service that is in high demand due to the lack of official public transportation services, it is an unsafe way of transportation that must be emphasized, as the identities and criminal background of these persons are largely unknown. The release goes on to pinpoint signs that should yield suspicion, which include the cultivation of strong relationship between the abusers and the children. It says before progressing to sexual acts, offenders usually begin to test their victims' boundaries by other inappropriate behavior, which includes gifting items and money, which harbors a feeling of endearment. Parents are encouraged to talk to their children and urge them not to keep impactful secrets. The force has trained officers to deal with these sorts of reports, and any incidents are asked to be reported. If you have any information on who this unknown offender could be, police are accepting tips. On May 16th, the Louise Garland Thomas High School held their Grand Career Day for their third formers transitioning to their senior schools. Take a look. The Louise Garland Thomas High School held their annual career fair last week at the Gustavus Lightburn Sports Complex, where they were host to over 20 local stakeholders of all kinds from around the TCI. Newswatch got the chance to speak with multiple representatives from the stakeholders that were present, the first being Melanie Smith, local entrepreneur and founder of her own company called the Talent Recruitment Group.
I love it, to be honest with you. Just to have the opportunity to be invited to this career day, it's an honor. And watching the students come to the booths to find out their career fields. And I have a few information here where they can really know what interests them and the fields in the career that they're interested in, and know basically the category and where it lies and how they can make better choices for themselves as it relates to their career path.
The Gustavus Lightburn was filled with joy, laughter, and most notably, curiosity as the students ventured to the various booths to learn more of what they offered, and not only were there conventional stakeholders present, but even retail business representatives at the career day too.
It was a pleasure for Graceway Supermarkets to be invited to the Louise Garland Thomas Career Day to share various insights on different jobs that's available in the retail industry and to allow students to learn the process to land these positions.
Government departments were also present at the career fair, showing their full support to the upcoming generation and teaching them the opportunities available to them within TCIG.
I am extremely excited to be here today. It is a wonderful experience, and I mean, this is my first time here, and as a teacher and representing the Department of Education, I can say that this is an excellent, this is most definitely an excellent venture that the Louise Garland Thomas High School has put on for their third formers. And I mean, to be as an educator, it gives the kids an opportunity to select a career from an early option, so they know when they get over to Clement High School, they can choose the subjects that will best suit what they want to do in the future.
Notably, all these stakeholders were excited and honored to be invited to the career fair. However, not as much as the sports committee, who had their eye out for the next track star.
A lot of them, they're interested. A lot of them want to do professional sports, and I myself and my team, we have to tell them, like, you need a backup plan. Education is important, mental health, all that other stuff is important. So the feedback has been pretty good, because a lot of things that they didn't know and understand. So it's always good to give that stuff back.
Diane Paul, the coordinator of this event, revealed her emotions of satisfaction with Newswatch at the sight of Career Day being so successful.
We've been planning this since December, and with the help of the Human Resources Department, Mrs. Gardner and Mrs. Hamilton from the Human Resources Department in Turks, we were able to get the government institutions, and we reached out to the private institutions. Some of these institutions are also our partners at the Louise Garland Thomas High School.
Paul explained that she wasn't only excited about the kids getting to experience their career fair, but excited for the adults as it gave them an opportunity to network.
I am proud, I am pleased. It's a lot of hard work, but it is an exciting event. And it's not just our students that are benefiting, it's other professionals getting to network. And I think that an event like this is building the professional capacity of the Turks and Caicos Islands.
The principal of the Thomas High shared a few words of gratitude at the opportunity that was afforded to the students.
We wanted to bring the curriculum to the students in an authentic way as they embark upon identifying the subjects that they will be interested in as they move into their various careers.
Finally, as these students move to becoming seniors, some at the Clement Howell High School and others elsewhere, she reflects on this time as she's sure it will be one they won't forget.
We understand that this is the term where third formers will transition from the Louise Garland Thomas High School to the Clement Howell High School, and so they will have to now be exposed to a number of different subjects geared towards specific career choices. So we thought it was only fitting to do this. And so the guidance and counseling department, they are the brainchild behind this venture today. And of course, the faculty jumped on along with the support of the Ministry of Education, as well as the Human Resource Management Directorate and other sponsors coming together with us to make this possible today.
Don't go anywhere. More Newswatch when we return.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
Welcome back to Newswatch. Minister of Physical Planning and Development Honorable Akira Mizik, in the last sitting of the House, announced government's review of the country's left-hand traffic policy. We dig deeper.
The Minister of Physical Planning and Development, Honorable Akira Mizik, says the impending review to the left-hand directional traffic policy is just that, a review, at least for the time being.
The reason why the question was posed to us as policymakers is that in their first round of recommendations, which we will receive on Friday, They will alert us to the pros and cons of maintaining left-hand directional drive on our roadways versus converting to right-hand directional drive. So no final decision has been made. It is just a point that needs to have a determination on based on the data that the consultants are reviewing.
The proposal factors in as part of the Transportation Master Plan consultancy underway by engineering company Matt McDonald out of the United Kingdom and speaks to the review of the country's current left-hand directional traffic that motorists have become accustomed to since the beginning of time to a new right-hand directional traffic policy as is seen in bigger countries like the United States. While the difference in traffic direction has been a small woe for tourists traveling to the TCI, where we see incidents of wrong-way traffic and minor accidents here and there, persons traveling from the TCI to the United States would say that conforming to the new direction is relatively easy due to their high traffic volume that leaves almost no room for confusion or error. The minister says while she is, for the most part, a little on the neutral side at the moment, there are some safety issues that exist and should be considered.
We import both right-hand and left-hand drive vehicles, and in some instances, the right-hand drive vehicles tend to be the larger vehicles like trucks and buses, which then provides the opening of the passenger door into oncoming traffic. And that poses a general public risk. It is something that we are used to because at some point in time, we do go on autopilot when we are driving familiar roadways here in the islands, given that the islands are not that big. So we may say, oh, that's not really a big issue. The government should focus on more pressing issues. But the redevelopment of our road system is a pressing issue.
Honorable Mizik says one thing is that if the decision steers toward right-hand directional traffic because of the infrastructural makeup of the country's roadways, a change could be made swiftly.
We would have to redesign parts of the highway. And see, this is the reason why the question has come up now is that the highway is virginal in that sense that a change could happen very swiftly because the highway is no longer fit for purpose. And so any major investment into Leeward Highway, into Millennium Highway, into Long Bay Road, etc., would have the ability to switch sides if the decision is made.
The minister also spoke about some of the effects a change such as this could bring about, including the possibility of traffic lights. The first round of recommendations, which outlines the pros and cons of maintaining left-hand directional drive versus converting to right-hand directional drive, is expected by Friday, May 20th. Officials say as the review process progresses, residents could expect a schedule and information on a medium for public consultation. Newswatch will have more on this in a subsequent newscast.
The DCR held a Tropical Important Plant Area workshop. Take a look. The project launch workshop was held on May 12, 2022, where various environmentalists were gathered to discuss the importance of plant species to the Turks and Caicos Islands.
It's been a long time coming. Since this project was conceptualized in 2017 to today, the DCR, Royal Botanic Gardens, Kew, and the world have been through some significant changes. It has been a long time coming.
We gather that this project has been in the works for quite some time, and due to the pandemic, it hasn't been able to flourish until now.
The tropical important plant areas and important plant species in the TCI project has remained, not forgotten, but just on a shelf. Finally, with our institutions acclimating to new realities and with travel restrictions lifted, we are here today to launch this important project, and it has been a long time coming. Delays aside, it's an exciting time for us to launch this project. With the recent completion of the National Physical Development Plan, the signing of the Climate Change Charter, and the review of the National Parks Ordinance, we are poised and ready to utilize new information on land use and impact to our protected areas and green spaces. We are newly energized to commit to the discovery and description of our most sensitive and significant plant diversity hotspots.
The DCR say that they're inspired by their colleagues in the BVI, having completed the pilot of this project in the UK overseas territories.
The first fully nationwide TPUS project worldwide. We are also ready and excited to find out what these plants are that evade identification in Corel and Corel's flora of the Bahama archipelago. If we all know, that is the Bible. Are there new varieties or perhaps new species? Can we imagine the significance of experiencing the description of a new species of orchid that has the gumption to bloom 2 meters tall in a habitat where most shrubs are only knee-high? Or finally, being able to put a name on a giant wild sisal that is part of our cultural heritage as well as a major food source for our birds and bats. It will be named after me. Through intensive field work, utilization of new technology, and advanced laboratory techniques to look into the very molecular makeup of our plants, we will learn where they are and who they are.
Later on in the workshop, Colin Clubb, who flew into our islands just to work with the DECR, gave an overview of important plant areas and what they are.
In the tropics, we refer to them as TIPAs, tropical important plant areas, but it's a global program. That's where some conflict has come in with the use of the two terms. But it's an important plant area program in the tropics. And the aim of this TIPAs program is to identify these priority sites and work towards their conservation and management.
The DECR is working closely with Colin to implement a TIPAs program with the aim to identify a scientifically sound network of priority sites for plant conservation and management.
They can also help identify gaps in current protection because in many areas of the world, and I'm sure TCI is perhaps no different, is that plants are often, because we don't have good plant data, they often haven't featured in designation of protected areas. It's usually been driven by mammals or birds or other more charismatic to some people's eyes, fauna. And finally, they can be part of community-based conservation programs. And that's an important element of it, actually to get the community on side and work jointly to steward and be custodians of our wild places.
Club said that they're working towards covering 30% of areas important for plant diversity.
All known threatened wild plants are effectively conserved and managed in situ or ex situ to include genetically diverse and viable populations. All land important for conservation of plant species diversity is included in spatial planning to support its conservation and restoration, and we were talking about the importance of spatial planning just yesterday. And finally, recognising that we are dealing with land that's already been degraded, to make sure that we have restoration programs. At least 20% of degraded ecosystems are being restored using native plant species of local provenance, including species of conservation concern.
Stay tuned for more of this story in a subsequent newscast. Don't touch that remote, we'll be right back. Coming up next is your Sports Authority and weather forecast.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
Welcome back to Newswatch. Here's the latest in your Sports Authority and weather forecast.
Sporting federations in the TCI have been going through a rough patch over the past few weeks, following the emergence of anonymous letters, supposedly from elite athletes, calling for the resignation of TCI AAA President Edith Skippings. Edith has remained firm in her stance to not step aside. It might have left many wondering, what role does the Sports Commission play in all of this? Well, the director of the Sports Commission, Jared Forbes, stopped by to explain what the Sports Commission is and how it supports its athletes.
The Turks and Caicos Islands Sports Commission is the government's arm for sport regulation and growth and development. We are under the Ministry of Education, Minister the Honorable Rachel Taylor, and we are led by a board of directors. Our chairman, Mr. Ira Taylor, is our current chairman for the Sports Commission.
The director explained what exactly a national sporting governing body or federation is and the role that the Sports Commission plays in managing them.
So the way how sports work in the Turks and Caicos Islands is that we have a number of national sport governing bodies who has the responsibility to develop their sport in the Turks and Caicos Islands and to ensure the sport is played based on the rules established by the international body. So for example, in the sport of football, we have the TCIFA, and they're governed by FIFA International. So that's an example.
Bodies such as the TCI AAA and TCIFA are first approved by the Commission and must be linked to an international sporting body to be fully recognized.
So national sport governing bodies make an application to the Sports Commission to be registered as such. Based on our ordinance, there are a number of things that must be in place prior to receiving registration status with the TCI Sports Commission. Once that is done, those bodies now register with the international body and they become the national governing body for that particular sport here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. So the TCI Sports Commission, essentially, we provide oversight to these bodies based on our local laws, which in this case is the Sports Commission Ordinance that was recently passed in 2020.
When it comes to the further development of TCI athletes, Jared explained that there is a range of financial and technical support options available to our athletes.
The TCI Sports Commission works hand in hand with the various national federations to provide them not just oversight, but also support. We support federations through grants and also technical support. National sport governing bodies are directly responsible for developing athletes here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. The Sports Commission does provide financial grants as well as technical support to these national federations to ensure that our athletes are placed in the best possible position to be successful on the international stage. What we consider success is not just achieving your best as an athlete, but being the best in the world, right? I think that our athletes must aim to not just be the best that they can be, or the best in their communities, or the best in their island or their country, but to be the best in the region, and the best at some point to be the best in the world. That is the ultimate goal of competitive sports.
The Commission also provides financial support to federations, and the grants fall into 5 categories: coaching and officials training, long-term athlete development, athlete preparation for international competition, international travel, and athlete assistance. These assistance grants go directly to the athletes.
One of the areas that has been contentious lately is athlete assistant grants. Now, I want to differentiate between athlete preparation and athlete assistance grants. Athlete preparation grants goes to the National Federation, who would have to apply to the Sports Commission with a plan. So once they provide us with a plan for development and preparation of athletes for that competition, we would then disperse funding based on financial capacity to do so. The National Federation in this instance is the entity that manages the funding based on the plan that they have to develop the athlete. Athlete assistant grants, these are funds that go directly to the athlete. Now, in our current sports policy, the grants are provided to athletes who are considered elite athletes. And based on our current policy, an elite athlete is one who is a world championship qualifier. Athletes who are not eligible for the grant are athletes who are professional athletes, meaning they're currently being paid to compete. They're endorsed by major companies such as Nike, Reebok, Puma, or they're pretty much highly paid athletes on professional teams, organizations, and also athletes who are currently in college on scholarship. These athletes are not eligible for athlete assistance grants because they already have the training and the high performance environment being paid for either through their college institution which they're competing for or their professional program.
He concluded by thanking the national federations for their hard work and dedication, further stating that he believes that the general public and the private sector could be doing more to support national sporting governing bodies in the TCI. For your Sports Authority, I'm Ali Carvey.
Here's your weather forecast for May 17th, 2022. For the nation's capital, Grand Turk, on Tuesday, mostly cloudy skies, high 84, low 78, wind southeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. For South Caicos, partly cloudy skies, high 83, low 78, wind southeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour. For North and Middle Caicos, mostly cloudy skies, high 84, low 77, wind southeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour. For Perrodon Pine Key, mostly cloudy skies, high 84, low 78, wind southeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And on Providenciales, mostly cloudy skies, high 84, low 78, wind southeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Now for your sunrise and sunset. Sunrise 6:10 a.m., sunset 7:23 p.m. And for your high tides and low tides, high tides 9:10 a.m., 9:37 p.m., and low tides 3:11 a.m., 3:08 p.m. And that's it for your weather forecast. We'll be right back with more News Watch.
Here at People's Television, we're more than just your leading news and entertainment services. We are
spreading the gospel.
We are breaking barriers.
We are preserving the culture. Each one, teach one.
We are committed to excellence.
We're creating change.
We are creating memories.
We are the future.
I am PTV.
I am PTV. I am PTV.
I am PTV.
We are PTV.
We are continuing the legacy. We are PTV.
Welcome back to News Watch. Fortis CCI has been recredited with Silver certification for the Investors in People framework, an internationally recognized standard for excellence in people management. Here's more. Silver status is achieved by only 15% of organizations assessed, and the company has received 2 consecutive rankings. This accreditation level means that the company utilizes people-centered principles, which have been applied consistently across the business, and employees experience the benefits. The IIP organization conducted the assessment from February 14th to March 14th, 2022. This process comprised an all-employee online survey and individual interviews with a group of randomly selected employees. Fortis TCI was also required to submit a portfolio of evidence on the company's performance against predefined themes. The themes examine the way companies lead and inspire teams, live the organization's values and behaviors, empower and involve employees, manage performance, recognize and reward high performance, structure work, build capacity, deliver continuous improvement, and create sustainable success. This year, Fortis TCI recorded an even stronger performance over the 2018 assessment. Fortis TCI is the only organization in the Turks and Caicos Islands with an IIP accreditation and has been ranked as silver since 2018. The assessment occurs once every 3 years. President and CEO of Fortis TCI, Ruth Forbes, stated, "The Investors in People framework has been an invaluable tool in leading, engaging, and developing our employees. The success of our organization starts and ends with people, and we will continue to deploy creative strategies and proven practices to attract, nurture, and retain our best talent." She continued, "Our silver accreditation reflects our continued commitment to high performance and an exceptional employee experience and how our employees feel about these approaches. Congratulations to our entire team on this significant milestone. We will continue to deliver our best efforts to make work even better." CEO of Investors in People, Paul Devoy, said, "We'd like to congratulate Fortis TCI. Silver accreditation on We Invest in People is a remarkable effort for any organization and places Fortis TCI in fine company with a host of organizations that understand the value of people." And that brings us to the end of this edition of The Real News. I hate to leave you so soon, but of course, you can join us right back here every weekday at 6:30 p.m. and tap into our social media platforms at www.ptv8tci.com. I'm Erica Pinales, keeping you informed, updated, and affiliated. Until next time.